we hiked up the Grapevine Trail a little ways, and I think the comment that stuck with me most was a lady with the dog on leash, and she said, "This is my trail." And I thought about that for a minute, and I thought, I hope that everyone in our community feels like this is their trail, because it really is. This is your trail. You know, when the city had the idea to build this trail, it was in response to obvious demand with the number of cars that would park along the north side of the freeway there along Washington Parkway. And then they would find themselves a way up into the reserve and into this network of trails. So it was in response to the community. The community wanted this trail, and we recognized that, so we moved forward with it. Let me start by just recognizing some individuals here in the crowd today. First and foremost, I want to recognize the Washington City Council. Let me share their names. I see Councilman Kurt Ivey, Craig Coates, Troy Belliston, Brett Henderson, and Councilwoman Kim Casperson. Give them a round of applause, please. You know, it was the council's vision when GWC Capital came forward with their Solente development, and they wanted to build a very nice community along the north side of Washington Parkway, along the boundary into the Red Cliffs Desert Reserve. And I think the main priority for the council was, we want to maintain access into the reserve, which meant when that PCD was approved, it maintains access into the Grapevine Trailhead, the Dino Cliffs, and the Elephant Arch. A few more recognitions. I want to recognize Senator Evan Vickers from the state. Thank you for being here, Senator. I'd like to recognize multiple city staff members here from our Public Works, from our Power, and especially our Parks Department. Thank you, everyone, for that. I'd like to recognize and appreciate our partnership with Washington County. I know City Administrator Nicole Felshaw is here representing the commissioners this morning. I see some of the county staff here. We appreciate them. I see Aaron Langston with Trust Lands Administration. Appreciate him being here. And I see representatives from both chambers. But mostly, again, this is your trail. We just thank you all residents for being here this morning. So if you've heard some of the things that we as a city have been emphasizing and prioritizing as of late over the last year or two, you've heard me say the word collaboration. And this maybe is very indicative of the collaboration that we like to work with. This has been an absolute combined effort. So let me just tell you some of the names of the groups that we've collaborated with on this. Obviously, GWC Capital, they're the ones that had the vision that brought forward the Solente project. They're the ones that have maintained access into these three trailheads. And they're the ones who initiated the construction of the trailheads under the direction of the council as we planned together with them. Obviously, Washington City saw the need and stepped forward there. The trust lands, the state trust lands has been a great partner on this. You might not recognize this, but the land that we're on right now is actually trust land, state trust lands administration property, and they leased this property to Washington City for $750 for 100 years. So we're good for 100 years. I'd also like to recognize the Tax Advisory Board with Washington County and Greater Zion. Jordan Hess and Paul Walker put together grant applications and went and met before that board, and they contributed $750,000 to this project, which was a substantial contribution. The state of Utah, it was a grant, the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation chipped in $700,000. Thank you, Senator. Thank you for your group for all that work. We worked through all of the federal permitting processes being adjacent to the reserve, which was quite the maze to navigate, to say the least. We absolutely could not have done that without Leslie Fonger and her vision for outdoor trails within the community. How about a round for Leslie Fonger? Thank you. I want to recognize a few others that are here. I mentioned GWC Capital and Solente, the architect on this, and then just take a minute to look at, is this not gorgeous? I'm not so sure there's a prettier pavilion and trailhead anywhere around than this one. The architect on this was Hans Hoffman. The land planner was Langvart Design. The project manager was the Alliance Consulting Team, land planners, and they're local. And then the general contractor was Royal T. As you look at this trail, and I've been up here a few times over the last few months, this is a multi-use facility. This is not, I mean, absolutely it's for hiking, but it's hiking for individuals either alone or with your dog on leash, or with your family and friends and groups. I know some come up here almost every morning, so I love to see the pet-friendly hiking. This is for trail running. You see a lot of trail runners that will head up Grapevine, and they'll spur off onto Dino Cliffs or onto Prospector and over to Church Rocks, or they'll get ambitious and go around Grapevine. This is for mountain biking, and I even see Nate Wright. Are you here, Nate? Pineview High School mountain biking coaches. I understand this is where they do a lot of their training for competition and stuff. So mountain bikers, and what I've seen a lot that I think I'm a little more inclined to get into is the e-mountain biking at my age. That seems like less work to pedal. So I see a lot of them that will come up, they'll head over on Prospector and go over into the Church Rocks area. I'm also proud to recognize the historic and continued use of the equestrian community. The American Horsemen Southwest chapter are here, and we have some of those in the audience, and we see some of these individuals here. This is an absolute multi-use park. It fits all of these different aspects of our community, and so we couldn't be prouder to meet the community's need with this park. Let me tell you just a few more things about the park itself. I call it a park. It's technically a trailhead. The trailhead has 4 restrooms. They're open from 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. It has shade. It will have some more wayfinding signs. It has cold running water. It has water that you can fill up for your horses. It has lights and benches for sitting. And then before you're done today, just take some time to turn around and look at the beautiful panoramic view across this valley. And one thing I can promise you that we noticed on the hike today, we got up there just a little bit to that crest and we looked to the north to see Pine Valley and the Red Cliffs. It was an absolute gorgeous view. We got over towards Prospector. We could see Zion National Park. We could see Sand Hollow State Park and the whole view of the canyon this way. So the views make the hike absolutely worth it too. As for the trailhead itself, it's built on 9 acres. There are 92 paved asphalt parking spots. There are 57 unpaved dirt parking places, and then there are also 10 stalls for horse trailers. So it's also built in a very Washington City approach, which is common sense and practical. You may have noticed when you drove in that there's a big block square wall right in the middle of it. Some of you probably knew exactly what that was. If you didn't, that is a future site of a power substation that will help meet the future demand on the grid as we continue the momentum in Washington City that comes from both public and private sector amenities. So, Rick Hansen and his group with the power department, they were fantastic to work with. Obviously, this is one of the most beautiful places on earth. I don't know that there's a trailhead quite like this anywhere, especially one that was built by a city and partnership with a group like this. Another aspect of this facility is in addition to the dirt trails where you can get a little of that red sand in your shoes and between your toes. We also have expanded our asphalt. We currently have over 26 miles of paved asphalt trails throughout the city. You'll see the cool little bridge next to the lone cottonwood tree where that wash was. If you follow that along Washington Parkway to the west, that goes over a mile, and that ties into North Main and into the entrance of Salente. The master trail plan is to continue to tie that asphalt trail plan down to the Warm Spring Boilers, over to the Mill Creek, and then all the way down to the Cotton Factory at Nyson Park. So it's a key and integral part of not only the outdoor trails on the rough, unimproved trail system, but also the paved trail system. But again, I'll just kind of finish where I started with just a huge thank you to everyone who had a part. This was an absolute collaborative approach. We couldn't have done it without multiple parties, everybody kind of doing their part. But I'll finish where I started with encouragement for you to get out on these trails. We live in the most beautiful place in the world, and I think sometimes we take that for granted. If you ever feel like you're forgetting how blessed and fortunate we are, if you ever forget about the active and healthy lifestyle that we promote and we strive for here, just come up to the Grapevine Trailhead. Get out on these trails, whether you're on foot, whether you're in the saddle on a bike, or in the saddle on a horse, or whatever it may be. Get out here, get your mind right, get your heart pumping, look at these views, just appreciate it, and remember, this is your trail. Thank you. Okay, now we will make this official. Where are you, Jordan? Why don't you guide the group up here? We're going to do the ribbon cutting right at the entrance.
There we go.
Find a window.
All right, Ed, give us the countdown, buddy.
1, 2, 3.